Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. Okay, I had such an incredible conversation with former podcast guest Kristin Windsor that we're bringing her back today, bringing her back this week because we're actually going to go deeper. We're going to do pretty much like a session live. So y'all are going to hear all about my vulnerabilities and my real and my rawness. So you're going to get a good life update on what's going on in Kelly's world. But with that being said, I want to welcome you back to the show, Kristin. Thank you so much for being here and offering to do this for us because I feel like it's very valuable. I feel one, because people are going to hear things from me that I believe that they can resonate with, and maybe can be a catalyst to some healing for them as well, while also hearing how you work through things, the tools and techniques that you can offer. I think it's going to be extremely valuable for everyone. So thank you for offering this. I really am grateful for that.
Yes, thank you so much for holding space. It means a lot to get to share and shine because a lot of times we're in this journey, and when we are looking at the surface level things of what we're going through, we don't necessarily see the importance or the opportunity or the invitation for the deeper significance of it. And so this will be a beautiful chance to really explore the depths of body, mind, soul, and like the depths of our being, but also what that actually looks like in our everyday experiences.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So when you say body, mind, soul, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, perfect. That's a perfect starting point. So body, mind, and soul. And I always say it in that order with those
Yeah.
phrasings, because a lot of times you hear mind, body, spirit, and different phrasings of it. And oftentimes I'll use it as one word where there's no separation between the three body, mind, soul as one word. And so body, we'll look at it a couple different angles, and then you can let me know your thoughts and what questions you have. Body is the physical vessel of what we're actually experiencing life through. But our body is not just a physical thing. It appears to be this physical thing because we have gravity holding us down on the earth and we can touch the skin that's holding everything. But the truth is that our body really is not as material as we might imagine it to be. And Deepak Chopra looks into this in really great depth and has really great explanations about it. So our body, and then our mind is that space where awareness and experience are meeting. It's that place where we have the awareness of our cognition, the awareness of our own self, and then the actual experience of life in each moment as impacted by our sensory data and what's actually happening around us in the moment, and our inner realities and how everything flowing here is kind of trying to navigate that. And then soul is the essence of our true self. And that is never defined by experience. And so one of the practices journeys that I lead my clients through, and we can kind of explore that a bit as we flow, is to connect with the essence of you independently of what you're experiencing and how you're experiencing it. Because what is being experienced is, okay, that's life within and around me. How it's being experienced is the wiring of your brain and your body trying to navigate it. But the who that is within the awareness and experience of that is never defined by it. And so when we have that space of distinction and connection, we have more power to move through what we're going through, what we're experiencing, how we're experiencing it, how our internal navigational systems are wired and all that stuff, and deeper opportunity to connect with who we really are. And so the mind is in the middle of body, mind, soul, because the mind is the meeting space between the body and the soul. But what happens is there's moments of experience that often begins during early life where there's somatic, which means felt inside of the body, somatic separation from the unconditional love of who we really are. And in those moments, a part of the soul and a part of the body become disconnected from each other. And then you grow up, and during childhood, it's this raw essence of self in a body, and you've never done anything, you've never felt anything. It's what's this and what's that, and there's no labels for stuff. And you look at kids and they are so inside of their body. And then you go through these experiences, and then moment by moment, there's this somatic, felt in the body, somatic separation from love. And then a part of the soul and the part of the body become disconnected from each other. And then you start experiencing life through the mind, where the mind is a space of separation between the soul and the body instead of the meeting place of them. And so when we have these life experiences as an adult, where most of what we go through, most of the way we make choices or think or feel or associate with the who that we are is coming from our mind. Every space where we're in the mind and not in full union with our body or full union with the essence of ourself is a space that is somatically separated from love, where we're not connected with ourselves. And so if you're like in a present moment and your mind is thinking about this thing and thinking about this thing, and that's causing you to miss out on your soul being in your body in the moment, then that's a space that could use this deep healing, this self-healing, this soul awakening, this reconnection with the somatic emotions of love. And so body, mind, soul is the union between the infinite consciousness of self and the actualized physical human form and the expression of that, and the meeting space where they're merging.
You said that really well. Okay, so one thing that stuck out, you're like, okay, so like the mind can actually be where things are separating, right? But is that why like the subconscious reprogramming, like where all the mindset work comes into play? It's like we're actually us people doing that type of work, you're actually trying to like reconnect versus continue to separate. You're actually pulling it back. So like when people say, I'm like coming home to myself, right? Mm-hmm. It's like it's merging those two, because you actually are reconnecting the mind to the body soul. And so it feels more like home because you're remembering things of how things maybe used to be or what they could be or whatever. Okay. But otherwise the mind either acts as a disconnection or a connection, more or less.
Exactly. And so that's an awesome awareness insight question. So the mind and the body are connected through the body mind, which is its own thing. So the mind is, and it's kind of confusing, kind of confusing because it's using the same words at a different reference point. So there's the body, the physical unconscious body that's like regulating your existence and physically existing. There's the mind where you have conscious access to everything and you have thoughts that you can intentionally think and make intentional moment-to-moment awareness and choices. But the merging place between them is the body mind, which includes the subconscious. But the subconscious is still a very abstract idea. And so with the work that I do, we want to get deeper into the neuroscience and consciousness of what's actually making that. And so when there's belief patterns, for example, that you might try to, reprogram, as some of the terms might go, what's actually happening is the body has an unconscious memory about how to navigate its existence. And that navigation is in direct accordance with striving to experience the love that it is. And so when we're a young child, we want to be seen and loved and valued and wanted and supported and connected and embraced and respected. And then experience teaches us how to fulfill those needs or survive their lack of fulfillment. And so if you learn that you're respected when you're quiet and you don't speak your mind and you don't raise your hand and you don't say something wrong, and you're taught through experience, which is often very indirect, not necessarily someone said this, although that can happen, but it's usually that nonverbal cue of social engagement and the way people are making eye contact or judging you or facial expressions, or whether they're, embracing you or just kind of like, no, let's not be around that. It's a lot of very nonverbal cue related, this kind of energetic language that goes beyond just the verbal language. And so if, as a young child, for example, you're taught that you're respected when you don't speak your mind, or maybe you say, oh, am I allowed to do this? No, you're not allowed to do that. You do not have permission to speak your mind. You do, when whatever way those messages were gained, then the body has these unconscious memories that then navigate life. And then moving forward, you don't speak your mind, and you're not allowed to be you, and you're not allowed to have an opinion. And so then if you're given an opportunity where you're like, hey, here's this huge project, you can do whatever you want with it, total free reign, express your fullest self, the body, doesn't matter what the self wants to do, the body is going to say, I navigate that because I know that I'm not allowed to be myself. I'm not allowed to speak up. I'm not allowed to have an opinion. And so even if you're given that opportunity, the body will not physically be able to do that. And so when you're doing the reprogramming, the purpose behind it is to initiate the somatic reunification with the love that you are. And so if you do a process and, let's say you're using something that's more than just affirmations, maybe it's eye contact in a mirror, or you're holding yourself, or there's some kind of somatic integration to support it. But if you're doing some affirmation that's like, I am worthy of all good things, in that process, you're going to activate all the associated information in the body. So every moment where the body did not feel worthy of all good things is going to then be activated and projected into your experience. And then you have the opportunity to rewrite that, because with every activation of a neural network, it's already being rewritten. It's just most of the time it's rewritten with the same information. So we want to give it something new. So you go in and you're like, I am so happy and grateful that I'm experiencing the most beautiful life imaginable, and I'm meeting the most amazing people, and every day brings joy and fulfillment. As you do that, especially if you're new to it and saying that is a foreign concept, the body is going to be like, hey, but I remember when every day felt like hell and I woke up depressed and I never wanted to interact with people and people were so cruel and disrespectful and every moment was just like, the body is going to be telling you about all those past experiences because it's navigating from that awareness of inner energy. And so when you are repatterning it, you're basically creating space for that somatic reunification with the love that you are. And that's why I love the kind of the concepts I do, because we go deeper than just the reprogramming. We go into the foundation, which is the body mind navigating and self-regulating its own existence in relation with the love that it desires to experience, which is the love that it truly is. And it's the foundational structure that precedes the thoughts. And so the mind is either, like you said, supporting the soul and the body connecting, or it's the space that is separating them. But it's never because of the mind. It's because of the body, mind, and the wiring of the body and how activated the essence of self is. And so in the journey, we want to repattern the body mind so that it has more information that supports inner union. We want to activate the essence of the soul so that you're not just this human defined by the experiences you've had, and that's how you navigate your whole existence, and that's the end of the story. And we want to expand the space for the body to house the soul essence, which takes a lot of inner exploration and work, because every moment where there was not a felt sense of unconditional love interrupted the energetic patterns of the body mind and created this distance or separation or disconnection between the body and the soul. And then that's where you kind of get the mind just always doing its thing. Every moment the mind takes you away from presence is a space where the soul isn't connected to the body.
Okay. So I totally understand that as far as like the next level of like somatic, like really connecting beyond the reprogramming, like you said. I definitely understand that for sure. Obviously, you have the techniques and the tools in order to do that. That's what you've created. That's what you've like self-studied, created. How, let's say someone, doesn't work with you, right? What is like what is something like what is maybe like a tool or a tip to help them go that level deeper on their own? Are people able to access the like body mind, like that somatic on
Yes,
their own?
absolutely. And the journeys that I facilitate have less to do with me and my techniques and this and that. I'm personally obsessed with them because I think they're magical and they saved and changed my life, of course. But
Yeah.
it's not about that. It actually has nothing to do with that. It's just a facilitation to reactivate what's already within you. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. And different points of the journey, you'll find different things that can serve and support you. I think the most helpful thing that we could explore to serve and support anybody listening is to do kind of a personal example and explore your personal experiences and where you're at. And then, by sharing that and diving into it, I can use some of the wisdom that I've gained and some of, a light taste of the modalities. And that can be something that can serve and support. So I'd love to hear a starting point of what you experience in your inner realities that is an invitation for something to shift. And even if you don't know what it is that you want to shift, there's something inside that happens that is a no big deal, casual, everyday occurrence. But with your expanded awareness, you're like, maybe this is an opportunity for something to shift. Maybe this is an invitation for something more, for something deeper.
Yeah. Okay. I wrote a few things down. I think, well, let's just say, like, I feel like I flip-flop in between taking actions from my higher self and taking actions from not my higher self. And I feel like, and it's been this way for a handful of years, like probably ever since I started like learning this work, like there are like the expression that I'm very familiar with, and I'm not sure my audience is, but the term like quantum leaping, right? Like people can quantum leap, you become like this highest version of yourself and but you're in gratitude, but you're also in that realm. And things can just happen. Like there's no time existence. Like things can happen tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, I believe that. I'm surrounded by it. Like I feel like, well, all of my mentors in the past too, they've always been like, literally look at your surroundings. Like, are you around the type of people that you want, that you want to be like, not, or aspire to be, or have desire the things that they have, or whatever the case may be, right? You maybe want to be just living a healthier lifestyle. Okay, so surround yourself at a gym with people, like go do things that are going to be more healthy for you. But I always feel like there's people like I myself know multimillionaires. I know, like I feel like there's always this missing link. And it's not like I'm not coming at it like, oh, like what's like why not? Like I'm coming at it from like why not me versus like why not me? Like almost like a victim. Like I don't feel like I'm a victim. I'm just like so curious as to like what this missing link is. And the behaviors that keep coming up for me is again, I keep like I will make the like I'm like in between. I'm in between. So I make these like really impulsive decisions sometimes, like this closet clean out. Like it wasn't quote unquote in my budget to hire and or invest in myself. I always say investing in myself when I'm doing something for me. So I invested in myself to do this closet clean out, and it wasn't technically in my budget, but I was like, yeah. And it was interesting because like when I was getting the pricing from the woman, I was like, she gave me like a package, right? Like a package deal. And then I was like, hey, can you like break this down into like the different categories in case I want to do like a la carte version? And the a la carte version, she prefaced, she was like, well, it's not like packaged is totally discounted. Like if you do a la carte, it's not. And I was just like, okay, I literally like took a few minutes and I sat on it and I was like, well, maybe I could do this. And then like 6 weeks later, maybe I can do this. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. And I just literally texted her right back and I was like, never mind. Like, I don't know what's going on in my brain. But it was like all the fears, the limiting beliefs, the somatic, that's scary was coming up, right? But then I was like, oh my God. And then I did we're not even done, but I did like a majority of my closet yesterday. And yeah, today I have felt this like weird, I definitely have presenced the thought that I felt guilty for spending that money. I have like, oh my God, like I look at my closet and there's like nothing in there now. Like, I got rid of a lot. And so, but it felt good. Like I was making very, like the woman was, I mean, I was trying on almost every single bit of clothing last night. And as soon as she was like, I was like, fine. And I literally took it off my body. Like there was maybe 5 pieces out of the whole, like probably 300 articles of clothing in my closet that I may have been like, I'm going to keep this one, like, but everything else, I was like, fine. You know what? I don't even care. You're right. It doesn't look great on me. It doesn't make me feel good. It's cheap. I don't care. Like, whatever. Let's just get rid of it. And it made me feel very empowered in that moment. But like today, it's like I'm in this, like, granted, I was tired too. So I'm sure that was affecting my emotions and hormones and everything. But like, I felt, like I said, there was parts that were like guilty that I spent that money when I know that I could be spending it on other things or I'm like, really, Kelly, you really couldn't have done that by yourself? I'm like having that dialogue of like the lower self, right? And so it's like, I'm constantly in combat with that. And I feel like that's almost my missing link and not to say like, okay, there has to be something wrong with us in order for us to like heal it and then move forward. But I don't know. It's just, but it's that way with relationships, like with dating. I make really good decisions based on my higher self all the time. I'm like, okay, that guy, he's not into whatever, fine, bye. But then there's some relationships that I just hold on to. I'm holding on to the potential. I'm hoping and praying that, this person will come around and they'll show up the way I need them to. But then they don't. And I'm like, ugh. It's just so weird. It's so weird how my mind works. And I feel that way I feel like it's just like a connective like behavioral pattern with so many things in my life though. Like even with health, I'll be on a good streak, like working out. And then like the next week I'm like, meh. It's just, I'm constantly flip-flopping. And I also almost feel like social media, like how I present myself on social media or how I was presenting myself on social media even. And my audience knows I've battled with social media for a while now, but it's like, it almost does that too. It's like I go in with something and then I like backpedal or I stop talking about it or something like that. So it's like, I'm not all the way in.
Yes. Okay.
I
love it. Okay. So where to even begin, my love, my love. So I'm not all the way in. That's the perfect place to start. All that I hear is my soul is not all the way in my body. And because of that, my mind is interrupting the connection with my higher self. Instead of having a fluid integration between the light of your soul fully inside of your body, there's times where the body makes choices through the mind, and there's times where the soul makes choices through the body. And we want to integrate that to bring harmony so that there is one unified totality of self-essence, and the decision making doesn't come from the automated unconscious patterns as defined by experiences thus far, but comes from this full unified connection where literally the energy pathways of the brain and the body that precede your mind are in full harmonious support of your soul, so that you don't have to connect with your higher self. You already are that. And that missing space where you were talking about how maybe past mentors or other people have suggested to expose yourself to the environment that will basically introduce you to what you're trying to create. And there is definitely validity in that because we're social creatures and we mirror that which we are around. But the deeper part of it is that our inner realities are then allowing for whatever we're experiencing externally. And so regardless of who you are, you could go be in a gym around people who are very dedicated to their health. You could be around these millionaires who know what it has to massive accumulation of wealth and prosperity. You can be around these people in the most amazing romantic relationships that have the most healthy dynamic imaginable. And none of that is going to matter because your body mind is only ever going to experience that based on what is already within you. And so the missing link is going deeper within and seeing the reality that exists within you independently of experience. Because you can look at the mirrored reflection of the experience, but that has nothing to do with the structures of your inner realities. It's pointing things out, but it's not actually showing what's inside. And so when there's that moment of, there's this part of me that is this way, there's this part of me that is this way, it's the body mind saying, I have all these different ways to navigate my life, but none of them reflect my true self. Because if I was in the perfect, pure reflection of my truest self, there would only be one unified essence expressing many parts in a unified state, rather than many parts expressing in alternate ways that disrupt union of the self. And within that, it's important to know that the manner in which we encounter our emotions and our choices, which is like, you know, like 95% of our actual experience.
Right. Yeah.
Like the totality of life, when you really boil it down, over 80% of our choices come from unconscious body memories. Has nothing to do with the present moment. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
And so even when you're in a maximum state of awareness, the manner in which you're experiencing choices and emotion has to do with the energy patterns of your body, the somatics. And so let's talk somatic emotions for a minute and then see where we can lead it to that might be of most value, because there's like so many places we could go. I want to make sure we're going down the lane that's going to be best for you.
Yeah.
Somatic emotions are a non-sensory feeling that flows through all four bodies simultaneously, our mental, emotional, physical, and energetic bodies. And what happens is when that energy flow is disconnected from each other, then you'll get those different parts of the self expressing in different ways. So you have a choice to make, and the mental body says, I have logic, I have perception, I have the fact of what's happening. And then the emotional body says, I have these feelings and I want to feel empowered, but I also feel really guilty. And I want to feel this new beginning, but I also feel kind of ashamed. And then there's all these feelings that don't even necessarily have descriptors or stories to them. And then there's the physical body that's like, I'm trying to like regulate your heartbeat. Can you be a little calmer, please? Or like whatever might be going on, right? There's the actual physical body. It's like, bro, I'm digesting food. Can you calm your thoughts so that your heartbeat isn't like taking away from the blood flow to like hello, right? And then there's the ethereal body, where there's the electromagnetic field of your soul essence, and there's the infinite nature of your consciousness that's like, hey, you're bigger than all of this. You're so much bigger than your thoughts. You're so much bigger than your mind. You're so much bigger than your emotions. You're so much bigger than your body. You're so much bigger than your experiences. Do you not remember the totality of your soul? Do you not remember that you are an infinite, eternal, immortal being who came here with a higher purpose, and that the minuscule things and those moment-to-moment decisions are part of a grander scheme? And when you connect with that vastness of your electromagnetic being, and you feel your body as extending many, many feet or yards beyond your physical body, and you feel the connection with that vastness of all that you are, we want union between those four bodies, so they're all saying the same thing at the same time.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. We want that. Alignment.
Yeah. And that's a perfect word, because so many people are like, I'm trying to sustain alignment. I'm trying to be in alignment. I'm trying to meditate. I'm trying to do these affirmations. I'm trying to, what would be the highest path I could imagine from what I know? None of that will support the long-term alignment. Alignment is about alignment between our four bodies. Alignment is alignment where there is one unified essence of self flowing through all four bodies simultaneously, and the energy flows are grounded from a foundation that supports that as our natural state of being. So your natural state of being comes from that unity. And when you notice, oh, well, a part of me wants this and a part of me wants that, or a part of me here, that is just an invitation to say, wait, where are the energy flows within me, and how do I course correct that independent of this scenario entirely? And that's where you get that really strong grounding. And to share a little bit from my own personal stuff. So it's not just abstract conceptual fluff, because I know it can sound that way sometimes. Like, yeah, that sounds good in theory, but that ain't life, or whatever it might be. And so with my past version of self, there was dissociative identity disorder. It's literally living with that my entire life without knowing it until later on. And so when that happens, there's literally all these different parts of self who have a completely different state of who they are and how they make choices and how they think and how they feel. And a lot of times there's amnesic barriers where those parts don't even know about each other. And it's borderline personality disorder, things like that, where you get a name descriptor and where we're at in evolution of humanity. But it's basically, there's these different parts of self or aspects of the soul flowing through alternate regions of the body's neural networks or unconscious memories that have patterns of navigation, and understanding how to associate with their existence in a totally different way. And so I know what it's like to experience the vastness of separation with yourself. And in any moment, you're like, I have 10 strong opinions of what to do, what to think, what to feel. And when I look at any of them, it feels like the right one. And then I look at the other one and it's the polar opposite. And it also feels like me and the right one. How do I know who I am? How do I know what to choose? How do I know what thought to listen to? How do I even know how to orient with my own existence, my sense of self, or my reality? And the manner in which we move through this life and have the thoughts and the feelings and the choices depends on the navigation and regulation of the body mind. And as we go through a process of soul awakening, our greatest invitation, if you will, is the opportunity to resculpt those inner realities. And maybe that starts with affirmations and subconscious reprogramming. But at the end of the day, that's maybe a fraction of the tip of the iceberg. That's not even the whole tip of the iceberg, much less the whole iceberg itself. And so the soul is really inviting us to know the essence of that which we are in a way that precedes the personal expression of it, and to know who you are without any of it, so that when you show up in it, you have a deeper inner union with you. And you're not making the choices based on the unconscious body memories at all, but from attunement with the vastness of the quantum field. Like you had even mentioned, the being connected in the quantum, there is no time, there is no space, there is no physical separation. When you can feel the unity and the oneness with the totality of universal consciousness and the source of your soul essence and the infinite love that is the nature of yourself, then it's not what's the right thought or what's the right feeling. It's how somatically unified am I with unconditional love in this moment. Because when we have separation of parts of self, it's only because we're disconnected from the somatic love that we are. And when we bring it to that focal point, it can help simplify things. Because, and I love geeking out on this topic, so for conversation's sake, you could get really into it. And what's happening in the mental body? How is that rippling into the emotional and physical and ethereal bodies? Where energies starting in each body, and how is it rippling into each of them? And, if you look at your decades of experience, where did the pattern begin? Like, you can get into all of that, and we can't. But you could spend hours, days, weeks, months, years and not get to the bottom of it. And so if you really want a quantum leap, you go inward and say, where am I not somatically unified with the unconditional love that is the truth of my soul? And when that's your top priority, your number one question, it brings you straight into the foundation of your being, where you're not looking at the experience or the thoughts or the feelings or the habits or the choices or the translations. You're looking at the foundation that creates all of it, which is love. Love is what is intertwining all of it. And that can sound like a fluffy answer, but when you go into neuroscience and consciousness, you realize it's a lot less fluffy, because consciousness is desiring to experience its own existence through infinite expressions of love. And that's where you can look at everything from, arts and nature and sciences, and people arranging flower bouquets, and people doing game programming that makes an experience that's so beautiful to be within, or a virtual reality program that allows you to experience something you'd never get to experience otherwise, or reading a book and you're lost in a novel and you're in this whole experience, and you're doing a photo shoot, and you get to be like all that you are in like a different way, or you go get glammed up and you wear clothes that you just never even imagined getting to have the fabrics on your body, or whatever it is. You're looking at art sculptures, and no matter what it is, it's consciousness expressing the infinite nature of love that it is, but it wants to know itself through the infinite nature that it is. And then you look at the neuroscience of our experience and the manner in which everything developed: brain hemispheres, triune brain, nervous system, cranial nerves, digestion, respiration, the unconscious body memories. It was all began through experiences of love and being held by someone that birthed you into existence, and then making eye contact with someone who's setting aside a certain portion of their whole existence just to allow for your being to be. And then you have these interactions with people, and they see you and they love you and they cherish you and they support you, and you're learning and you're growing. And it's all these interactions of love. And so we want to teach the body mind to navigate from love. And that's where we can shift into higher dimensions of consciousness, higher dimensional states of reality potentials. Because when you're in that third dimensional state of experience, there's separation from the love that you are. And it's through the mind, and it's based on what you observe in physical reality, with total disconnection from your soul, total disconnection from the miracles of your actual body. Like that's where you binge eat potato chips, because you don't know how precious and miraculous your body is. You don't know what your body has to go through to digest those potato chips. And you're somatically separate from love. And then you start to progress and ascend, and you activate and awaken the essence of your soul, and you are confronted with everything. You're confronted with the traumas. You're confronted with the toxic relationships. You're confronted with the unsatisfying path that you're on, or whatever it might be, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the habits, the choices, the separation of parts of me want this, but I can't stick with it, whatever it is. And then in that invitation, in that opportunity, it allows you to quantum catalyze your journey for your soul's highest expansion. Because what could be more profound than reunifying with the totality of your own infinite nature through the transcendent divine power of unconditional love, when everything you're experiencing feels like the opposite of that, and yet you use that as a tool and an invitation and an opportunity to move into the love that you are. Because when you are somatically reunified with that love, you are then able to think thoughts you've never thought, feel emotions you've never felt, make choices you've never made before. And it won't be from a place of, let me try to connect with my higher self and see what she would do, or let me just evaluate the options. It will be from that state where embodiment meets enlightenment, and the light of your soul is flowing through your body in a way that there is no more separation. There is no space for a mind to separate you from all that you are.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. I don't know how to respond. I get it. Like, I understand. I don't wow.
So when there's a moment of your experience and you feel, and you can bring up anything, any of the different scenarios, or a couple of them, whatever floats. When there's a moment where there is not full union in all parts of self, the question is, where is there a part of me that is not somatically unified with unconditional love? And that usually originates from early life experiences, and then other things that led as like a sequel to that, where you didn't feel seen or loved for you, where you didn't feel valued or wanted for you, where you didn't feel supported and connected for you, where you didn't feel safe or sustained in just being you, where you didn't feel respected or recognized for being you. And when you start to look at that and say, where is my body holding on to the energies that keep me somatically separate from love? That's where you can go deeper. And so I would love to hear your reflection on that. When you're in a moment, you can bring up a scenario in your mind where you notice that disharmony. Where is there a part of your own being, your own aspects of self, your own body, mind? Maybe you feel it in your body. Maybe there's a certain memory that comes up. Maybe there's a certain thought or feeling or instinctive response that comes up. Those are all different clues from the body mind. But where is there a space where there's somatic separation from the love that you are?
Mm. Um, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that I guess come up for me, but uh, two things more. One, that I had experienced a situation, I guess in college, that I never, like, I went to, it was kind of like a really good friend turned into like a friends with benefits situation, and things went really south real quick. And I kept, you know, you say like I was never with the person, but like going back to, right? Like it wasn't just like a, whoa, that's a lot, I'm walking the other way, because I had formed such a bond with this, or I was friends with this person for quite some time. And then things happened and it got very like emotionally abusive at first. And I was put in situations where I felt like I had to perform like a sexual act in order to be able to leave the situation. And then it started getting more physical. And then my parents obviously were pretty involved at that point, and writing police reports and that kind of thing. But I went to one therapy session after that. I mean, mom was like, you need to go to therapy. So I did. I went to one therapy session. And of course, I mean, I'm 22 at the time. So I didn't know. And back then, I mean, it's still a stigma now, but I feel like I'm just around people who, normalize it a lot more now. But, still what's wrong with you is why people go to therapy. So something's wrong with you. Right. And so I'm sure that was the idea, the thoughts that were going through my head too. And because it was almost confirmed by the therapist herself, and I'm sure maybe this was just how I received it, but it sounded very condescending. Like I'm telling her what happened, and her response was, and you kept going back to him. And I was just like, that's what everybody is fucking asking me. Like, yeah, I am. That's literally what I just told you. Obviously, I didn't say that, but I was like, yeah. So my mom picks me up from the therapy session and she's like, did you make your next appointment? And I was like, no, I'm good. And like, that was that. And I got lost in, I mean, now fast forward, as I started to dive into this work and working with my first mindset coach, 2018, 19, and she started to unpack a lot of this for me, which was extremely healing and transformative. However, we didn't stay on that topic. I'm sure there's layers to unpack with everything. But it was my first time talking about it in a professional way, not just and going that deep and expanding on the topic probably since that time. So, 10 years or so. With that being said, though, I know that I like buried it. I got lost in becoming an extreme workaholic. I didn't know who I was. I was very disconnected from myself. At the time, in my 20s, I didn't know this stuff because I didn't even know this information, right? But I recognized as I'm working with these coaches and doing my whole personal development journey, like, wow, I was so disconnected from myself. I mean, one of the biggest things, like I remember in like 2015 or something, someone asked me like what I like to do for fun. And my response was go out drinking with my friends. And I immediately felt embarrassed because I was like, it's not like that's how, I don't know. I think the reason why I felt embarrassed was because one, I didn't know what I like to do for fun. Like, yeah, that was fun. I had a great time doing it. But like, what else did I like to do for fun? But two, I probably thought that I was judged a little bit by this person. Like, that wasn't in their wheelhouse. I knew that that was not something that they did for fun. So I felt so shallow, let's put it that way. But yeah, I think just like recognizing that that situation has been an underlying for many reasons, underlying like I said, I mean, that was just what 2018, 19 was when it was first addressed, really. And again, I haven't really just been like, hey, I'm coming to you for this to like heal this, right? And secondly, what I was going to say too, I have a family member who has been topic of conversation for a very long time. And that has made me feel insignificant in many ways. And I know that my family loves me and everything, but I do feel that, there was a time like, oh, because that was so much the priority that any problem that I was going through didn't matter that much. Like it wasn't like, oh, that's just drama, it doesn't need to be talked about. And so I would suppress it. Maybe I would talk to my friends about things, but like, I do believe that there is a difference between talking with your friends and having that support of your family. And when I say that too, what I was sharing with you before we started recording, it's like I hear myself say those things, and that's exactly what that family member is probably thinking too. It's like we can talk about things to our friends as much as possible, or strangers even, right? People we just met, but like to our own really close family who we want, we want that special bond with. It gets lost sometimes because everyone there's just so much other chaos going on, and so I have felt, and I think, my family members know this, but I have felt second. I have felt like I didn't, like I said, like I didn't matter, and that I was just, yeah, I just didn't matter.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. I know it can be very hard to allow for the vulnerable aspects of self to have a voice, and to allow for parts that have feelings to make themselves known in a vocally expressed way. That takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of connection, and I want to honor you for that. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Question for you. Do you happen to have a little mirror anywhere near you that you could grab at the moment?
Yeah, I can grab it.
And for anybody listening, if you want to join in on the adventure we're about to share, please feel free to grab a mirror. This is the greatest quantum leap you'll ever know.
Okay.
Perfect. Yay. Oh, that's cute. I love that. So we can talk ideas and concepts and logic and ideas and stories and experiences all day, but what matters is what's happening inside of us. So let's go ahead and take a moment to look at your own self in the mirror, and I'll do the same. So I'm joining you in this journey. And just take a moment to notice the way that you see your face, and you notice your forehead and your eyebrows and your eyes and your nose and your cheeks and your pretty lips and your pretty teeth and your pretty chin and your hairline and the shape of your face and the color of your hair and the style of your hair and the length of your hair and your neck and your shoulders supporting that base of your head. You just notice yourself, and you notice the way that you see the reflection of your physical body. And just take a moment to notice the way that you see your own body and notice what comes up. And then after looking at your face and all the details of your actual body, go ahead and lock eyes with your own self and notice the colored region of your eyes. And in this space, you're not just connecting with your physical form, but you're connecting with the essence of your soul and the energy of your consciousness and the substance of your true self. And so in this moment, let's explore just kind of what's coming up, and then we can take a little journey deeper within. But with everything you just shared, there are parts of you, parts of the body, mind, aspects of self who are experiencing life through that energy information inside of the body that feel like they don't matter, that feel like they have no significance, that feel like they're not free to be who they are, that feel like if they come forth as who they are, they will be disrespected or rejected or judged instead of being fully embraced and recognized and honored in who they are. And there are parts of the body mind that feel that it is safer to suppress the connection with who you are than to feel everything that has been restricting the potential for expanded inner unity.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to notice that part, those parts of you. And as you look at the mirror, ask yourself, who do you see and how do you see them? And if you were looking at someone as if looking at them for the first time, what kind of energetic impression comes up for you?
Um, like with the expression on my face right now, before I started laughing, this girl has a little bit of like guarded, cold, a little guarded and cold. Um, yeah, a little guarded and cold. But makes light of it. I have a tendency, just like I just did, like I nervously laugh, you know? I have a tendency to like do that often because I'm trying to avoid the feeling of it, I guess. So just
Yeah.
try and keep things light. But I really, yeah.
Yeah. And as you look at yourself in the mirror, are there any certain patterns of thought or feeling that are kind of coming up automatically within you? Any sort of inner dialogue or narrative or emotional kind of responses or sensations? And maybe you're like, hey, I'm not listening right now. I'm really focused on this time with Kristin, looking at myself in a mirror. Shush up in there. Shush up in there. But if you tune in deeper, is there anything coming up where your body mind is trying to navigate the moment in a very instinctive way that can maybe share some clues about what's happening deeper inside of you?
Nothing at the moment is coming up. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm like searching for something. I'm
No,
like,
that's perfect. That's perfect. Because sometimes we get to a place where we can be fully in the moment and explore it. And sometimes there's little interjections from our inner realities. So that's perfect. That's perfectly fine. If anything does come up or any, memories or sensations or inner kind of dialogue that's like narrating your mind or something, just let me know. And then as we look at the self, we're going to play a little game because we do want to dive deeper than ever before, but in a way that is nourishing and loving, because we want the journey to be transformative and sustainable. And if it's not something that we can approach and feel safe to approach, it won't be sustainable. So as we play here, let's just play a little game. Okay. First, we're going to close our eyes, but keep that mirror handy because we're going to look back in it in just a moment. Close your eyes And you can place one hand gently on or next to your eyes and just bring awareness to your own awareness behind your eyes, or within the awareness of preceding the experience of your eyes. And notice that there is a self of you that is pure awareness, that is, if it resonates, you could describe it as your highest self. It is a space of pure consciousness. It is total attunement with universal intelligence. It is total, infinite, divine, uninterrupted connection with loving awareness, pure presence, loving awareness. It just is. And this space of awareness doesn't have needs or desires or memories or experiences or sensations. It's just pure consciousness. It's just awareness. And as you take this moment to connect with the awareness of you, you are about to meet a part of your own self that you've never met. And just like when you're meeting a human being for the first time, there are no assumptions about who they are. You don't know them yet. You haven't seen them. You haven't talked to them. You haven't heard their story. You haven't listened to their experiences. You have no idea anything about who they are. And to hold space to meet someone that you've never fully listened to before, to meet someone that you've never fully gotten to see for who they really are. Now go ahead and open your eyes and return to gazing in the mirror. And in the mirror, you see the experiencer of you. But you play that you are seeing you for the first time. There are no automated assumptions. There are no automated stories or judgments or assumptions about who they are. You're meeting them for the first time. And because you're seeing them for the first time, being distinct from them, there is space to explore parts of you that you haven't yet fully attuned with. And so in this moment, the self-seeing from behind your eyes is a space of pure awareness and infinite love. And the self being seen in the mirror represents all the parts of you who are having the human experience. And so in this moment, what comes up for you?
Oh, my eyes look pretty.
Yeah, they do. Heck yeah, they do. And as you reflect into the miracles of your eyes, you notice that it is an energy reflection of your soul. And you notice that the energy reflection of your soul is perfect and whole. Is perfect and whole. But then you notice that within the perfection and the wholeness of your soul, there are also parts of you who are inside of the energy of your body mind that know their association of self in relation with those past experiences where you didn't feel free and safe and supported and loved to be the fullest, truest expression of you. And when you hold space to connect with those parts of yourself, what comes up? And that might be a restriction of connection by not being able to fully feel the emotional attunement with those parts. It might be a feeling coming up in your body that you're like, nope, that feels uncomfortable. I'm going to stay here in my mind and just let my body chill and not actually fully allow for those. What comes up? Something like that or something different?
Yeah, I feel like I'm not fully connecting with the body. Like my
Yeah.
mind just kind of like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to stay right here.
Yeah.
And I will say something too, like, what is coming up for me is there have been times that said family member has suggested I do stuff like this, like mirror work, right? And I've done some other forms of mirror work, but it has been, and this is probably why I'm in my mind and I'm like, no, because I'm like being defiant. Because it was said in a way that was shaming me. Like you need to go, like take a long look at yourself in the mirror. So for me to look at myself right now, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. Okay. Like there's literally like this little like girl having a conversation with that person right now. Like, see, I'm doing it.
Beautiful. Okay. Okay. So I love it. So we could try something fun. We'll play here and see where it flows. There are aspects of you that have more attachments with the external world, including family members, than there are attachments with your own being.
Mhm.
As you attempt to connect with your own self, the attachments externally are taking your mind into its natural path of somatic separation. Because if there were strong attachments internally, the soul would be in the body with no interruption in the mind. And so, as the mind takes you away to socially engaging with other people, instead of being able to be in full union of engaging with your own self, it's this clue about this deeper inner reality. And so let's try an inward journey. You want to try that instead of the mirrors?
Okay, sure.
Let's try that. Basically, a beautiful intention is to be able to socially engage with parts of your own self as if they were distinct persons. And so you can notice that your mind was leading you to socially engage with those family members. And that was actually already happening inside of your body, being projected through your mind and revealing spaces where your inner realities have restricted union with your soul essence. So we want to take that format or that blueprint of social engagement and allow for a conscious redirection of socially engaging within parts of the self. So let's start by anchoring into the body and take a few deep breaths in, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And as you breathe, you notice the air come into your nose and you feel the energy of your body meeting the air around you as you ground into awareness of the union between the physical and the non-physical. And you anchor fully into your body while also allowing space for a greater energetic attunement and alignment with that which exists beyond the definitions of your physicalized human form. And as you notice the air coming in through your nose, you notice it moving through your being into the depths of your belly. As you expand through your diaphragm, the core of your body is moving, your rib cage moving, your diaphragm moving, but then that creates a ripple effect. And you notice your hands are also moving because they're gently resting on the core of your body. One hand around your heart, one hand in your belly, or anywhere in that area that feels good and comfortable. If there's a space inside of your body that seems a little more tense or a little more some kind of feeling, even if there are no words for it, place your hand on that area and welcome an interaction, a somatic interaction with your own being. And you notice the air moving through you and you ground deeper into your body in this present moment. Breathe in, big inhale, audible exhale. Big inhale again, noticing the air through your nose as you notice the union of physical and non-physical realities. Notice the movement of your diaphragm, your rib cage expanding. And as the core of your body moves, your hands placed upon it are also moving. Big inhale. Audible exhale. Three more just like that. Lots of noise, lots of movement, lots of sound. More. Last one, make it count, all of it. You can continue breathing as dramatically or exaggerated as you desire, as you notice the life force moving through you. And maybe you notice some sensations, might even be a little tingling or lightheadedness. just continue to expand your breathing. We welcome in the greatest expansion of divine life force in this sacred now moment, knowing that the body is welcome to expand its divine union with the authentic connection of the soul, and all previous barriers noticed through the mind are beginning to lighten their grip, to loosen their hold, and to create an energetic space of divine opportunity that previously did not exist. Yetiaru vushkia nakakaro ia tre iare vashia takakaro kaya nakakia ve na oro ia tre iare vashia kakaria gano kokoro ia tre iare vashia nakakaro vumuno. Two more big deep breaths, lots of movement, lots of noise. Inhale, big audible exhale. And one more as we fully anchor into this moment. And allowing the energies to settle as you bring yourself fully into attunement with your body, as you allow for your mind to be a meeting place, to be your soul and your body, with nothing standing in between. And if anything comes up, you simply re-notice the energy inside of your body, returning to your breath, returning to the movement of the core of your body, returning to the awareness of your hands placed on your body, returning to the awareness of the life force moving through your nostrils, and allowing for this to be a symbolic representation of all the energies moving through you as cerebral spinal fluid is pumping from the base of your spine into the very upper regions of your spine, shooting into the expansion of your brain. And the energies of your brain are linked with your body in a way that expands the bridge between your soul and your body, so that your mind can become a tool and a conduit for divine energies, for the greatest purpose of your existence in this eternal now quantum moment. And in this space, we enter into a scene through our mind's eye. You are standing in a big, giant space of nature. And as far as you can see in every direction are just rolling hills. And you can choose your nature setting, and you can even allow for your choosing to change if you desire. But imagine any nature scene that fits your fancy. Perhaps there are giant trees outstretched all around you, and their bigness and their hugeness and their deep, deep, deep roots that go deeper than the height they have above the ground allows you to feel very grounded and very held and very secure. Or perhaps there's a big field of wildflowers, and there's literally every color, every shape, every size of flower that exists on the earth in a big, never-ending oceanic-like view where it just goes as far as you can see, and in all directions are never-ending fields of flowers of every color that dance with a gentle breeze. Or maybe it's tall grasses, and there's the deepest, richest colors of green spread out all around you, again, as far as your eyes can see, or maybe a combination. But you allow this nature setting to hold you. And you allow for the union of your body to be in full union with the earth, as the consciousness of earth holds you like a mother and a father, like a mommy and a daddy, like a caregiver or a supporter. But this energy moves beyond any human experience you've ever had with primary caregivers or any social interactions that are divinely designed to serve and support you and nourish you from the infinite love of your own source of soul. This is an energy that is timeless. This is the consciousness of all motherly nourishment and all fatherly security and all masculine, feminine energies that are meant to hold you, that are meant to support you, that are meant to see you and love you and allow you to be seen and to be loved, that are meant, all the masculine, feminine energies of the entire universe in their state of divine, timeless perfection and an eternal state of being that transcends any momentary state of expression or experience. This masculine, feminine energies of divine consciousness as the earth holds you and the sky feeds you all the air that you need to breathe, to stay alive. You are held in a greater security and nourishment than you've ever known. And the earth holds you, and the plants and the air and the combination of the infinite atmosphere meeting the grounded state of the earth meet you to provide everything you need to exist in this moment. And you feel your feet on the ground as your bare feet brush against the soft dirt of the earth, and the gentle plants tickle between your toes. And you notice ladybugs and dragonflies and butterflies and birds and little squirrels and rabbits and frogs and all these little expressions of nature around you, and you allow yourself to be so divinely held. And in this space, you notice in the distance a person. What a curious experience when you are the only person in sight and there's only nature surrounding you. Look all around in all directions as far as your eyes can see. There are no humans, there are no roads, there are no cars, there are no houses, there are no buildings, there's no sign of humanity. And how odd, out of absolutely seemingly nowhere, there is a person out in the distance ahead of you, many, many yards away, so that they're just a small figure at the moment approaching you. You cannot yet see the details of their figure, but you grow curious. And as they approach you from the distance, you begin to feel a sensation inside of your body. You don't really know what it is, but you breathe deeper and you notice your belly relaxing, and all that tension that's normally held there, where the base of your being is just holding on to exist. And there's tension in your belly and there's tension in the core of your being. All of that melts like butter melts on hot toast. And as you have a hand placed on your belly and your physical body in this moment, you notice your belly relaxing more than it's relaxed in a very, very long time. You didn't even know how much you were holding on to. And you feel a part of you so relieved that you can let go right now, that you feel an emotion come up from deep inside of you that you had never allowed yourself to feel. And as you breathe deeper and you give every inch of your belly and your lower abdomen absolute, unconditional, abundant permission to fully let go, fully relax, fully melt, you notice that feelings that were stuck in that part of your body start to let go and feel a relief in being able to let go. And you have one hand placed on your belly as you continue to breathe deeply, and the other hand placed over your heart. And you notice that there were tensions held in your chest that you did not even know about. And you notice a sensation in your chest begin to let go. And as you feel the sensation in your chest begin to let go, you feel yourself able to breathe deeper. And you feel your breath moving from the base of your belly all the way through your ribs and your abdomen up to your chest, where your chest can actually move up and down in a lightness and with an ease and a letting go-ness. And any emotions that were stuck in that part of your body come up to be fully felt and acknowledged, and with the awareness of your unconditional love to be let go of. Because we do not have to fully feel and get stuck in the feelings to heal them. The invitation is to allow them to move through us. But that can't happen if they don't have permission to keep moving and to keep flowing when they get stuck in parts of our body. So you notice your belly and your chest and sensations that were held there. You're able to breathe a little deeper, breathe a little lighter, breathe a little more slowly, and anything that was stuck there and stopping or restricting the expansion of your breath and relaxation and connection with your body melts away. And maybe it comes up and maybe you feel choked back and maybe you want to cry, and that's totally okay. And you give parts of you permission to feel what comes up, and then you return to your breath and the awareness of your own love. And as you anchor more into your body, you are in this sacred nature space, and that person out in front of you is continuing to walk towards you. You allow your body to feel these sensations that you'd never given yourself permission to feel before. You'd never even know that there are parts of your body holding on to feelings that you've never felt before. And you notice that some of these stuck sensations are from the past 3 to 5 years of your life experience, where the stress or the focus on external reality without full inner attunement has caused energies to be stuck inside of you because there wasn't the time and the space to fully process what you were experiencing. And you notice other sensations from the past 10 years of your journey and other sensations from the past 20 years of your journey. You notice sensations from the past 30 years of your journey. You notice sensations from your early childhood experiences. And the beautiful part about this somatic connection with your own essence in this moment is that there do not need to be stories. There do not need to be particular experiences to connect these two. If those come up, that's perfectly all right. And we welcome this inner awareness and deeper self-connection. But you're allowed to feel feelings and sensations in your body and emotions that there are no words to describe. And they don't have to have a reason. They don't have to have a cause. They don't have to have a narrative. They can just be the raw energy of that which they are. And there does not need to be an explanation. They are welcome here with unconditional love. There is no worded invitation. You are only allowed here if you are something to be healed. No, 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 no. We welcome everything, and we have no narrative for it. We do not restrict the authenticity of our energy flow by restricting it with limited definitions of the mind or the linguistic language that we use to communicate. The body has a language that transcends all of that, and so does the soul. So we want the body and the soul to speak here, not the mind. So we do not need the narrative, but we allow it if it's present. We let go, and then we reunify with our loving awareness of our soul essence and the deep somatic union of our body. We allow anything to come up that needs to come up. And now you notice as you stand in this nature space, feeling so absolutely divinely held, that person is approaching you, and you feel the most overwhelming emotion that could ever be imagined. And if you don't have full inner permission to feel it at this moment, that's fine. You'll feel it later on today as everything becomes processed. But in this moment, you allow for the seed to be planted, to feel a sensation in your body that is so overwhelming. It is equivalent to laughing until you cry, where your full body from head to toe and every cell of your being, every energy of mental, emotional, physical, and energetic bodies are literally overwhelmed by the somatic reunion of the unconditional love of your soul essence, that it is resonant with a feeling of laughing until you cry, where there is such profound wholeness and fulfillment from the inner union of your own self that it transcends anything you've ever known, and it transcends anything that could ever be described. And as the person in the field approaches you, you notice that it's you. But it's a you you've never known. It's a you you've never met. It's you in your purest, rawest state imaginable. It's you if you had never had a moment of experience that taught you anything less than perfect love. It is the rawest, purest, most expanded essence of you. And you notice that Visually, it looks like your physical human form, but you see a light that is glowing and extending, erupting from the core of the body in front of you and extending out beyond your skin. Absolute luminous and divine. And as you look at this part of you, you realize that that's the truth of you. And now every part of you inside of your body that's ever felt judged, abandoned, neglected, unseen, unloved, unsupported, unappreciated, any part of you from any moment of life, doesn't matter the story, any part of you stored in the present energy patterns of your body, mind existing here and now fully within you, meaning you have full power and authority because it is the parts of you inside of you in the present moment, fully here, fully now, regardless of what past experiences contributed to them. You are in full attunement with the inner energies arising and all of the parts of you that never felt seen or loved, all of the parts of you that never felt appreciated or treasured, all of the parts of you, no part left behind, no part left behind, all the parts of you that did not feel treasured or cherished, appreciated, valued, wanted, celebrated. Those times where you didn't get to be the center of attention. Because you deserve to be the center of your universe. You are the center of your universe right here, right now. You are in the spotlight, and any part of you that felt like they couldn't come forward and be all that they are, that they were second, that they didn't matter, that they were not significant, that they are irrelevant, that they don't matter, that they're not important, that what they go through is less than, there's not space for them, no matter who they are, what they're experiencing. All the parts of you come forward and you feel it arise in your body because the stuck emotions that separated you from those parts of you are coming up to be loved, coming up to be healed and nourished and reunified with the love that you are. And any part of you that never felt safe, any part of you at any point of your journey that is now an energy in your body that is restricting the flow of your soul essence, an energy stuck in your body because of an emotion you never let yourself fully feel, is coming up to greet you, and you allow it because you are held in this moment. And the highest, most divine expression of your eternal soul is facilitating this sacred space. And the entire planet Earth is holding you in all of her glory, and the infinite cosmos, the whole totality of the galaxies themselves. Everything is stopped in the eternity of this quantum moment to allow for this process so that you can fully know you. And you notice all aspects of you, the parts of you that never got to feel safe, that never got to feel like they can just be and breathe. That sigh of relief. I'm finally safe. I'm finally held. I'm finally seen and loved. I'm finally safe and supported. I'm finally recognized and seen and loved and heard for who I am. And there's finally space for me to be significant. There's finally space for me to be welcomed and accepted for who and what I am. And those parts of you that never felt stable or sustained or safe or secure or protected or provided for, those parts of you that didn't feel safe to circulate money through an investment in your own expansion or inner well-being, those aspects of you that didn't feel safe or stable or sustained or protected or provided for, so that you can move beyond the survival of restriction within your financial budget to expand into the fullness of what life can be beyond the financial limitation. That parts of you, the aspects of your soul essence that never knew the fullness of what life can be without being restricted into a box of a budget where you can allow for possibility to freely flow beyond the definition and the restriction of the mind allocation of the seemingly limited resources. You allow all of it to come up without judgment. You let every feeling in your body come up. You let any and every emotion come up. You do not need to give it a name or a judgment or a label or a description. There does not need to be a narrative. If there is a story associated, you notice the image of the memory and then you let it go and reattune with the feeling inside of your body. Gono kikia tataru ia vashkia nakake ia revashia nakakaro vumuno ia tre ia revashia kakaro oro ia re aya vashkia netiare gayakia kokoro ia tre ia no kokoro ia tre karo vashia. Feel the movement of your breath and feel what part of your body cannot fully relax into an expanded breathing state. It might be a space that could feel similar to muscle tension, but it's something different. It's an energetic space of tightness or restriction where there is sensation instead of spaciousness. Notice any place of your body where there is a sensation that is not the same thing as spaciousness. Bring awareness to that part of your body and allow for your breath to move there. Allow for your hands to move there. Allow for awareness to move there. Allow for love to move there. Return to your breath, feel it expand. And as we activate these parts of you that know somatic and subconscious separation from love, we bring loving awareness into those spaces of the body and give the subconscious body mind divine and quantum permission to release the energy that has been stuck there. We welcome quantum healing as all past experiences are presently stored in the body mind and have the energetic potential to navigate every potential future experience. We welcome this quantum energy. We welcome this quantum soul alignment and divine attunement with the healing of the past, the expansion of the present, and the anchoring of the highest timeline of your soul's greatest purpose for existing here on this planet Earth, here and now. And you breathe into that intention. You allow your breath to move the intention of your loving awareness into the parts of your body that feel stuck or stagnant, anywhere where there is an energetic space that feels like restriction or sensation or stuckness instead of lightness, ease, flow, and spacious beingness. And we bring that awareness. We allow any emotions that might arise. If you need to laugh or cry or yawn or move your body, stand up and stretch around anything that your body is asking for, create space to welcome that, create space for movement as inspired. And we allow for the scene through our mind's eye, through the projection of the energy of our consciousness to be fully anchored into this spacious nature scene. And in front of us is that image of the person, that highest divine self, where from their chest is a light radiating from their heart and expanding beyond their body. That is the true essence of you being welcomed into your physical human form in this moment, where anything that is blocking, restricting, or separating you from that is welcome to the surface to bring healing to. We are not here to heal past experiences. We are here to transform the present energy patterns of the body mind so there is more space for the authentic essence of the soul self to freely flow. This requires more connection with a somatic union of unconditional love. In order to build the bridge between the soul and the body, we allow the mind to be a tool and a conduit. We welcome the parts of self that didn't feel seen or loved, that didn't feel valued or wanted, that didn't feel safe or supported, that didn't feel supported. Aspects of self, parts of the body mind that didn't feel supported. that wanted a felt sense of being vulnerable and close in a way that creates connection and support and community, where there's collaboration and unity. And any parts of the self who desired that but felt restricted from it, felt cut off from it, felt like that need wasn't being met, felt like what they needed wasn't available to them, so they suppressed it and they stuck those emotions inside of the body and said, okay, fine, I can't be vulnerable, I can't be close, I can't be supported, I can't come forth with the fullness of all that I am and have this raw emotional intimacy and actually be met within that. We allow those parts to come forward now. We allow those parts of the body mind to welcome up any sensations that were stuck or trapped, any aspects of the self that hid themselves or suppressed themselves because those needs were not available to be met. So they hid away because they cannot know who they are without somatic union of love. And any parts of you that ever felt judged or rejected or given labels that did not accurately depict the fullness of all that you are, or were not treated with the utmost respect, that were not allowed to be like, yes, I am significant. Yes, I matter. Yes, who I am matters. Yes, I am powerful. Yes, I am significant. Yes, I am important. Yes, I am purposeful. And everything that I experience and everything that I go through and all stuff in my inner reality and the expressions in my outer reality, also, there is significance to that. There is a purpose to that. There is importance to that. And those parts of self are worthy of being recognized, heard, embraced, and respected within that. And we allow all these parts to come forth. And we breathe deeply into it. And we notice all the aspects of our body melt, and allow for this streaming light to melt across your face, to settle the concentration, letting everything go now, letting everything settle, just letting everything go, not trying, not doing, not focusing, not being. Notice all the parts of your body relax, the tension in your face, all of it melting. You can move your hands across your face and just give yourself somatic bodily permission for those parts of your face to relax. Your neck, your back, your chest, allowing for a body scan as you move from head to toe, from the top of your head, energy flowing, relaxation melting across your head, relaxation melting across your forehead and across your cheeks and your nose, across the back of your neck, allowing relaxation to melt across your shoulders, allowing relaxation to melt across your arms and into your hands, allowing relaxation to melt across your chest and your belly, allowing relaxation to melt across the top of your back, the middle of your back, allowing relaxation to melt across your abdomen and your lower back, allowing relaxation to melt in your hips and your thighs and your knees and your legs, your lower legs, and into your ankles, allowing your feet to relax. Maybe you wiggle your feet around, you wiggle your hands around, you wiggle your toes. You open your mouth really wide, stretch out your jaw, raise your eyebrows, and then let it all relax in, relaxing your jaw, allowing your tongue to melt away from the roof of your mouth, allowing your body to move and stretch. You can stand up and move around and stretch as you ground back into your body in this moment. And as you welcome yourself back into this moment, you gently open your eyes and notice again your breath and your breathing, and anchor into your body, your mind, your soul. And right away, we're going to pick up the mirror. And now I'd love to hear about your experiences and what you went through and what came up or what didn't come up because it was kind of being restricted in a subconscious way, and what you're feeling now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt things were not like emotionally wise, things were not coming up for me. But I felt very relaxed. I definitely felt very relaxed. There were times when I was like I could like see little like pictures, I guess, a couple, like at first it was as if I was sitting on my couch. Like it was like a picture of me sitting on my couch as if I was like on the other side of the room looking this way, like looking at myself watching TV or something, right? Like I could like see a silhouette of me on my couch. And then later on there was like an image of like it's a piece of artwork that I actually saw recently, which is really interesting. But piece of artwork, it's like a white, like almost like a sculpture, I think, but it looks there's a print form of it too, but it's like all the like flowers and stuff coming out of the mind, like coming out
Mhm.
of the head. I don't know
Yeah,
if you know
yeah,
what paint or like
yeah.
paint art piece of artwork. It was that, but it wasn't like very vivid. I just knew like that's what it was. And then later on, it was like that I could like see more of like an actual like person in like a dress. Like just like you said, like in the like in like a field, right? Like there were flowers everywhere. Um, but again, it was more like it was like yellow and black picture, like black and white pictures, basically. So the silhouettes. So I kept like, yeah, I kept getting more like you said, like closer to me, I guess, you know? So it was like me sitting on my couch far away, and then it was just like a head, and then it was like a full body. So it was just interesting, like how these little images kept popping up. And then I kept seeing like the world, like literally like the earth, like the continents. That was, yeah, it was very interesting. Um, I think that's what I was almost more like not focused on, but I was like listening to everything that you were saying and I was taking it in, of course, and it was totally relaxing me. And I was just like allowing me to see that stuff, I guess, come up. Um, I mean, I did the first time that you said to put your hand on a part that felt tight, like I put it on like a knot in my back. So it's still kind of there, but like it is definitely like lessened than it was. But yeah, I couldn't like I wasn't like in the emotions though. I was just
Yeah,
like giving myself permission to just like chill, I think.
that's totally fine.
Yeah.
And you can always come back to this and listen to it later in a more private setting, which can help. It does take a very deep level of subconscious permission to allow those parts of self to kind of come forward. And so what came up when you were noticing the earth? What was the sensation or the significance of that from what you might
I
know?
don't even know. I have no idea. Yeah, but it kept happening like throughout. Like it was
Yeah.
just like I was like, is that I don't know if you were like sitting there still because obviously my eyes were closed, but my I kept wincing because I was trying to like see it clear. Like
Mm.
my eyes were closed, but I kept going like squinting like to
Oh,
see
that's
it.
so interesting. I
I
love
was like,
that.
what is it trying to show me? It was like, but it really was like a continent. And then it was like, and then I could see more of like the actual like earth. But it wasn't very vivid. It was just I like, yeah, just
I love
outlines of the continents on the earth. It was
that.
interesting. I
That
don't
is
know.
very
Maybe it's just like telling me I need to travel more.
definitely could be an invitation. So I would love to share a practice with you that you can play with, and we'll kind of end the time with this. So go ahead and pick up your mirror. And from what I can feel, there's and I could actually demonstrate this on the body mind soul treasure mapping. But basically the mind is connected with the left brain hemisphere and the mid and front parts of the brain, where our body is more connected with the right brain hemisphere and the mid to back parts of our brain. And what can happen is the soul essence has more energy flow in those brain regions that are of the mind without full connection with all the brain regions of the body, where those energy networks of the actual brain are supporting the mind body connection and allowing the soul self to flow with that expanded awareness. But I deeply believe there are parts of you who have these stuck emotions of not having their needs met at different periods of life. And they want their needs to be acknowledged. They want to be seen and honored in the fact that they do want to be vulnerable and close. They want to have this sense of vulnerability and closeness. They want to have this sense of support and connection. They want to be valued and wanted for who they are. They want to feel safe and secure to, invest money and circulate it in a way that can be an investment in you. They want to feel that closeness and connection with people that are important. They want to feel this sense of being respected and embraced for who they are, and to be grounded enough in that inner union of self to not have different parts that are wanting different things at different times and, going through, but to have this union. So the first thing is the parts of self want their needs to be emotionally and somatically acknowledged. And so that is a good first step to connect deeper, because if we're like, yeah, sure, that it's nice to be valued and wanted, but you're from the mind and you're from the logic and you're not connecting with how that feels emotionally inside of your body. What would it feel like for Prince Charming to walk in and be like, I value and I want you, and for it to be the most authentic and magical moment of your life? What would that feel like inside of your body? And how can you connect with the parts of you who want that? Irrelevant to external people and experiences, but to have connection with the parts of you that want that. How do you reattune with their own emotional desires and the need that they have? And so when you have, for some of the examples that were shared, the wanting to be in connection with, family members or people of a close nature, and that's kind of a tug of war because of certain dynamics. How can you honor the parts of you who want that vulnerability and closeness and connection, and give those parts of you that from your own relationship with self? And so in the moments where you're like, I want to say this thing, or I want to have this experience, or I want to talk about this topic, or I want to share this thing I'm going through, or I want to hear this kind of feedback, or I want whatever it is from those people. How can you honor the parts of you who want that, but then encourage a relational connection inside of you where you are actually building a family within your own consciousness and being the family member that those parts of you need in that moment? And then when you're making choices, and some days it feels like the higher potential, and some days it's the more average possibility. How can you honor the needs that those parts of you have that's beneath the experience? Maybe it's, and a lot of times these are needs we're not even aware of. Like if you're wanting to kind of clear out and create like a fresh, clean slate in, your closet, for example, where are there parts of you that want to feel a sense of direction or guidance, or a sense of spaciousness and newness and openness for energies that haven't been there, but maybe you're opening to experience them? There's a deeper layer to the experience. How can you connect with the parts of you and what they actually need and desire that's beneath that? And how can you connect with that in a way that's felt inside of the body? And that takes practice, especially when we have lived so long through the mind. It's literally impossible because the wiring of your brain doesn't support it. I could lead you through a million practices, but it is a gradual journey, and you have to have a desire to shift your inner realities to have deeper union with yourself. Because right now the brain is just wired in a certain way. And if you try to connect with feelings you've never connected with, there's no connections there to support that. And so it doesn't matter how hard you try, the brain actually has to be rewired gently with love, just through daily practices that can shift the way it's operating to build the network. But in that, you're literally building a bridge to meet those parts of you. And so you can imagine like a big like ravine or something, and you're on this side and you see parts of you over there. You can't just jump over and be like, hi, I see you, now we're reunified. You have to brick by brick build a bridge and meet them where they are. And so that's kind of the process of daily practices. And so the first goal is, how can you connect with these parts of you that have internal needs, including emotional desires, that maybe you haven't fully attuned with? And this never has anything to do with the surface experience of I want to have this kind of experience with a family member. I want to have this kind of romantic relationship. I want to have this kind of experience in my whatever it might be. It's something deeper, and it has to do with the somatic emotion that these parts of self desire and the type of love that they want to internally experience through those feelings. And so the first intention is to connect with those parts of self and what they actually need deeper beneath the surface. And then how can you nourish a relational connection with those parts of self through distinction and connection? So once you start to attune with those parts, there's two things that happen. There's being unattuned, which is kind of where we're starting at for your journey. And that's a perfect place to begin because you're perfect as you are. But when you're unattuned, it's a disconnection where you're like, I don't know what those parts of me are feeling. I don't know what those parts of me need. I don't have an emotional somatic attunement with their existence. Like, there's not enough connection. But then as you start to allow these parts to surface, what can happen is misattunement, where there's too much connection and you associate with being those parts of you. And then you're like, well, this is just me. This is just who I am. And that's where in moments where there's like the thoughts or the feelings or the choices or the desires or the urges or the impulses or I just need to have this experience with this family member. I just need to make this choice, or why didn't I choose this, or whatever comes up. Oh, I lost my train of thought.
I do that all the time.
Part of me still drifting in the quantum. No, is that you are not that part of self. And there has to be distinction and connection for there to be a relationship. And so everything that you talked about, the missing link is the relationship with parts of self, because your body mind has attachments externally where it's learned to navigate experience and other relational things and situations outside of it. But there are no patterns, or not enough patterns, inside of the body mind to support navigating the essence of you. And so the body says, I'm attached to these family members. I'm attached to the desire for this type of relationship. I'm attached to this identity in this workplace, in this home life, and this whatever else is going on. I'm attached to these friendships that I have, these relational connections. I'm attached to these habits, these hobbies, this lifestyle, this style of taking care of myself. And then the body mind is projecting the essence of you into that experience. And the body mind doesn't have the structures to say, all that matters is the union with myself. I'm attached to me. That's secondary. That's secondary. None of that has anything to do with who I am. Not even for a split second. None of that has anything to do with who I am as a soul essence having a human experience. None of that. And so we want to turn those attachments inwards, teach the body mind to engage with itself, and allow for the energy of the soul or the self essence to come back in, where those energies of the self that were like, I'm over here and I'm hooked into this relationship, you bring that energy back into you. Because every moment that there's this emotional response or even emotional disconnection, and it's all about that past experience, that external relationship, that decision about these day-to-day things outside of me, there's this energy of your soul, and then your soul's over there, and 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 your soul's over there. Oh, there's not much of my own self left for me. And then, of course, there's going to be division. Of course, there's going to be a missing link. Of course, there's going to be a gap. Of course, the mind is not going to know how to support union with your own self and your body. Of course, you're not going to have emotional attunement with these parts of you, because your soul is in all these places outside of you, and it's not actually here. And so we want for there to be stronger internal attachments than external attachments, where you have full attunement with everything that you need that precedes all the experience, and you know how to fill that up for you. so that the energy flowing in mental, emotional, physical, and energetic bodies is one unified state of being. And your strongest attachments are to the essence of your soul flowing in your body, mind, in each now moment. And that inner relationship is stronger than the attachments or the relationships outside of you.
Yeah. Which we all need. We all need
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
I
felt like
agree.
we're so, yeah, and like what I was saying earlier too, it's like, in my 20s, I felt so disconnected from myself. And it's just to further, dive into like this work, it's like a continuous journey and you just get to like a particular layer. Like, yeah, I've discovered so much of myself, but there's still so much, a connecting to do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And a part of that, one way that I look at it through this work is that every moment of life, I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, but every moment of life where you didn't feel unconditional love was a part of the self that kind of got stuck. And so we're going back by going within, not actually going back, but we're going within to welcome all those parts of the self home to that inner union of the ecstatic love and liberated wholeness of the true self. And in the journey, reconfiguring the energy of the body mind to support that inner union, that wholeness, that self-love. And like, even with my journey, I've literally spent over 10,000 hours in mirrors and healed my brain through it. And I'm still meeting parts of myself I've never met on a daily basis because we're so much more than our experience. And even within our experience, there's trillions of energy pathways in our brain and our body. And if you imagine there's a part of you for every one of those energy pathways, there's trillions of aspects of you you're getting to know. And even that is within the experience, which you are so much more than that. And so I invite you moving forward to start a practice where you begin and end each day and maybe have a few minutes in the afternoon, even if it's 5 minutes in your car or 5 minutes in the bathroom on a lunch break or whatever it is. Like, it doesn't have to be this big formal hour-long meditation, but to start, end, and have one moment, at least one time during the day, where you practice, and it will be a practice because you're building new networks in your brain to support the practice of it. But then as you practice, you learn the skill set of it, and then you can reach new actual breakthroughs where you're like, oh, there's a part of me that I've connected with that I didn't even know. I felt this feeling that I've never felt. I felt this thing come up I didn't even know was stuck. But you have to kind of practice to learn the skill, to teach your brain that that's where you're headed, and then it becomes possible. Can't just like jump there in a single time, but to practice using a mirror for the self-seeing to be distinct from the self being seen, the self that is seeing from the eyes to be distinct from the self that is being seen in the mirror. And that's where you can build a relational connection, because these parts of you are not the same. If you're like, yeah, I'm just a self, and well, how come there's, disruption here? You have to imagine that there are trillions of parts of you, and you're getting to know each one of them as if for the very first time. What a great adventure.
Yeah.
And to really hold space to connect with the deeper internal needs of these parts of self, and to hold space for the distinction and the connection, where you can stay grounded in the awareness, but also connected and attuned with the feelings that are coming up for them. And so when you think about that family member or that thing, whatever it might be, you can put in any particular, how can you connect with the part of you that has a need within that experience? Not the experience, but the part of you with the need. The part of you that needs to feel a sense of vulnerability and closeness and to be held within that. The part of you that needs to feel like there's direction and guidance and that you're important and purposeful and significant. Whatever the need might be, the part of you that has inner leadership and can respect and honor your own decisions. So there isn't guilt or shame for making a choice that serves and supports you, and it was completely in your right to make. All these different things that come up, how can you connect with the part of you that has the deeper inner need and start to actually see them. You literally see them in the mirror. How can you actually somatically in your body see the part of you with that need? And that is going to be the thing that leads to the thing that leads to the breakthrough that bridges the missing link you were talking about.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it makes sense from
Okay.
your mind. Does it make
It
sense
does make
from,
sense for my mind. Right.
does it make sense in a way that you can have a daily practice that you use 3 times a day for at least 5 minutes every time that you do it, where this isn't just something in the mind, but it's something that becomes integrated into the soul of your body, and you can actually use this information in a hands-on way?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because like you
Yes.
said, building the practice, it's building the or you're practicing the practice to build the practice. Yeah.
Okay. So what is your dedication or relational commitment to yourself moving forward from this moment?
But I'm going to have to make sure that I have a mirror with me at all
Oh,
times.
that's me too. That's the number one thing in my fanny pack.
I think just spending time, committing to that because I have a morning routine. So like having that a part of just integrating that, adding it to part of that routine, and just taking time to do the mirror work and just look at myself. Like you said, 5 minutes, 3 times a day is 15 minutes. Not that, not that much of a time commitment, but just to build that and get more comfortable and asking myself, yes, like what you said about like the need, like honoring that, where the need is like coming from, basically, and like acknowledging that and spending time with that.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So right here and now, imagine that you're here in your mind, in your body, in your soul. And then imagine that kind of in front of you, and you can even put your hands out in front of you to just have some symbolic representation. But imagine that there's all of these parts of you that have needs that want to be met by you, not by your family, not by Mr. Right, not by the person who's helping you clean things out, not by the physical act of clearing and making, not, but there are these parts of you that have this need, and they want that need to be met by you and only you. You're the only person who can ever possibly love these parts of you the way they need to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
And they are depending on you to learn how to connect with them so they can receive the love that they need from you. And so in this moment of distinction and connection between the awareness of self, the experiencer of self, higher self, human self, the self in the mind, the self in the body, however you want to describe it, masculine energy, feminine energy, however resonates, what is the relational commitment that you are ready to make for these parts of you who have needs to somatically inside of your body feel love, and they need that love to come from you. They need to be seen by you. They need to be valued and wanted by you. They need to have vulnerability and closeness with you. And that requires moving beyond the mind, deeper in the body, and letting yourself feel presence with these parts of self. These parts of you are deep in the body, mind, and the subconscious, and they are begging desperately to be honored by you. So what is your relational commitment to those parts of you?
Honoring myself. I mean, doing this work and honoring myself to do, like, acknowledging that, sitting with myself, being with myself.
And what is your intention for them? Think of it like a relational thing, like it's not just myself, right? We're just going to play with shifting the language, because you're totally right, and that's all really good. We're just going to play with shifting the language. If this was a parent and a child, if this was you and a romantic partner, if they were literally different people, just using imagination, what would your relational commitment be to them? And how would you say that as you look at you in a mirror, as if you're speaking to a person that is distinct from you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, listening better.
Oh, tell
Uh,
me, tell
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I want to be listening so that I can honor and acknowledge, and just holding space for not trying to avoid or distract myself from feeling the emotions that may come up from it, any hurt, pain, frustration, sadness, confusion, disappointment, shame, guilt, any of that. I want to be able to hold space for that and just be with it and, and play also, enjoy the time together and not always be so serious. Mhm.
So let's play with a little phrasing here and just to see if it can help get any deeper. And if not, that's okay. But we'll play. As you
Okay.
as you look in a mirror, you say, I want to know all of you.
I want to know all of you.
I want to see every part of you in a way I've never met before.
I want to see every part of you in a way I've never met before.
I want to know the feelings that you feel beyond what my mind perceives.
Okay, I didn't get that one. I want to know all the feelings. I want to know all the
All the
feelings
things that you feel
that you
beyond
feel
just what my mind is thinking.
beyond what my mind is thinking.
I want to know how you feel being inside of my body.
I want to know how you feel being inside of my body.
I want to know what it feels like to be in full emotional attunement with you.
I want to know what it feels like to be in full emotional attunement with you.
I want to know how beautiful, fulfilling, and expansive life can be when we are fully connected.
I want to know how beautiful, do that one with me.
I want to know how beautiful,
How beautiful,
fulfilling, and expansive
fulfilling, and expansive
life can be
life can be
when we are fully connected.
when we are fully connected.
And just kind of breathe into that and let that intention be fully with you. And you thank all of these parts of you for being present. Even if you can't fully connect somatically with all of them, you just thank every part of you for being right here, right now, exactly as you are. And you say, thank you and I love you.
Thank you, and I love you. Thank you.
Mwah. Give yourself a big
Mwah.
mwah. Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much for sharing that journey. And yeah, I just invite you to play with a practice that can just hold space to connect deeper with you. And as you continue that, these parts of you will gain a deeper trust. A lot of times parts are like, nope, we came up before and we showed her that we need things and she wasn't there and she did off and she went traveling and did her work and did all these things and was responding but she wasn't there for us. So I'm not coming up and I'm not going to tell her how I feel. I'm not going to tell her how much love that I need. I'm not going to tell her how much I'm hurting. And that's where we can be disconnected. And so we want to show these parts of self in the body mind that we're in this for the long haul. We're here in a lifelong committed relationship. We're going to show up every day. And as these parts of you actually gain more trust that you are going to be there for them and you're not going to run off and look externally or skip your practices and be like, oh, I did enough inner work, I'm good. Or, like return to the family saying, this is where I need to have closeness and vulnerability and connection and support, not recognizing that there are parts of you that need it from you first. Once you start to build that trust, then these parts of you can feel more comfortable to be like, I actually really just need to be held right now, where you can feel that in your body and have that deeper connection. And so as you practice, you start to kind of break down those barriers within yourself and hold space for more of you to become known.
Yeah, I feel that. I understand that.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Any concluding thoughts or questions?
No. No, this was great. I mean, even that visualization, I hope that everyone listening you know, whether you did that with us or like you said, like listen back, play this back and do the visualization meditation again. Because I think that the more that even the more that you do it, the more that you listen to it, you'll hear something different. You know, you may meditate on a completely different thought. Something else is going to pop up for you. So I think that that's what I want to leave the audience with, is just to, and also take all of that into consideration. I actually used to say that with clients of mine, as far as like looking, you know, I got to practice what I preach more. Again, I'm like, not all the way in. But in the essence of like looking at your inner child, like an actual human being, like how are you showing up for them every day, you know? So that is something that I've just kind of detached from and haven't been doing myself on a regular basis, you know, or diving deep enough. Maybe I do go into the distraction mode of things and avoid and whatnot, and, you know, look for external things here and there. Oh, well, also I do sit with myself and, you know, I will acknowledge things. I mean, I journal, I meditate, I just sit in silence sometimes and just reflect. And I think that that's a beautiful way to hold myself too, and just, you know, show up in that regard. But I do know that I obviously do distract myself too. So I'm not, again, all in, you know, fully going in. So I think that this was just beautiful, and just helpful reminders for everybody to show up for themselves before you can show up for others.
Absolutely. Very well said.
So thank you so much again for doing this and offering your wisdom and everything. Where again can people connect with you?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Please feel free to find me on Instagram. That's my primary platform. There's also spaces where you can join my email list and receive free gifts. I have a 50-page Discovering the Magic of Somatic Emotions playbook, along with a wide collection of other gifts. It's over $1,200 of free content when you join my email list, posting, sharing, and connecting on Instagram. And then I also have longer, deeper dive videos available on YouTube. And if anyone is interested in connecting through a 3 or 6 month one-on-one mentorship journey through the pathway that I've developed, it's about going deep and exploring your inner realities. And we use body, mind, soul treasure mapping to connect with the awareness and experiencer of self, the essence of the soul, energies of consciousness, the substance of your true self, and then to also explore how that essence of self is flowing through the brain, the body, and the body mind, using insights about neuroscience and how consciousness is flowing through our neurobiology. And so we're exploring the patterns in the unconscious memories, the patterns and energy pathways in the brain hemispheres, the triune brain, the nervous system. And as we explore your personal experiences and then the deeper realities that are happening, we create colorful treasure maps to visually understand these inner experiences. And then based on everything we discover and your own personal intentions, there are personalized play prompt prescriptions, your prescribed play. And these are practices that have the intention to nourish relational connections within the self in a way that can activate, anchor, and embody more of the soul self and shape shift the body, the brain, inner wiring so that how past experiences are stored inside of the body and impacting thoughts and feelings and the health and the energy flows of your 4 body systems is being reborn through the unconditional love of your true self. So there's more space for your soul to flow inside of your mental, emotional, physical, and energetic bodies. And then you have these daily practices, weekly guided sessions, playbooks, and self-guided journeys. And then we dive deeper through marathons and the more advanced modalities that I use, that I've developed through the past 7 years, over 20,000 hours of this inner work, is somewhere between a shamanic soul retrieval and brain spotting, where we go deep into an expanded state of pure consciousness while unveiling the hidden secrets about the energy flows of the body mind in a way that we can quickly and easily resculpt them through the power of love, through the power of presence, through the power of your soul, through the power of consciousness, and really quantum catalyze inner transformation, again, to transform how past experiences are now stored in the body, with the emphasis on somatic reunification with the love that we are. So those parts of self that didn't feel the fulfillment of their inner needs can now have that be met from within in a way that rewrites the energy flows of your inner being. And the purpose of all of this is to have more embodied worthiness, empowered confidence, more joy, more freedom, more internal abundance and peace and presence and bliss and inner power and emotional fulfillment and a state of wholeness. Because when there is a state of wholeness, there is no space for division or separation or opposing contradictory energies. And as we reunify into the wholeness of all that we are, we experience more of everything we desire because it is first coming from within. And so this journey is a great space to heal and transform residual impacts of trauma, mental, emotional health, heal, nourish, hold the inner child, harmonize masculine, feminine energies, activate and awaken more of your soul, and shift your identity and ways of associating with you. And all of this is just somatic reunification with the unconditional love of who you truly are. So you can find out more about that 3 or 6 month one-on-one mentorship journey with me and connect through my platforms. And I would love the chance to connect more personally.
Absolutely. I love that. Yep. Everyone go check her out. Thank you again so much for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.